She's a certified yapper, but looks good doing it.
Gabby, I love you.
It must suck being that hot.
What up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Gabby. Hi! If you're new here, hi! And if you're not new here and you're not yet subscribed, you subscribe right now because I don't know what you're doing. We're on the road to 1K and we're almost there and we have to get there. So thank you everyone for the support and thank you all for being here. Help a girl out. Help a girl out. If you're not following my socials, my TikTok and Instagram are down below. Oh my god. And yes, if you're new here and you're wondering, yes, I do wear my pajamas in like every video. So this is a pajama party every week. So get comfortable, get your snacks, and enjoy the video with me. That's what this is all about. So as you can see by the title, we're gonna be reacting to WrestleMania 40. So for those who are wondering, I have not watched wrestling in years, but I am a fan and I do know the lore, okay? Did I watch WrestleMania 40? No, but I do know about it. I know Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, and it was The Rock. Those three I recall. So this video is called How Good Was WrestleMania 40? And drop it down in the comments, y'all's opinion, if y'all watched it. So, without further ado, let's go.
When Roman Reigns pinned Cody Rhodes to end WrestleMania 39 on top, all eyes immediately shifted to WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. Fans thought that if not in LA, it had to be here. It had to end here, and it had to be Cody Rhodes who did it. Well, the lights have gone down, and he is in fact ready now. WrestleMania 40 is in the books, and Cody Rhodes is your new undisputed WWE Universal Champion. He's beaten the Tribal Chief, he's ended the over 1,300 day reign of Roman, and he's finished the
1,300 days? I know you lying. I'd be pissed off if I was in the industry.
Story. His story is complete, but for the WWE, it seems like this was the beginning of a new chapter. Over this past weekend, the company, whether it was in press conferences, kickoffs, or commentary, made it evident that they were ushering in a new era. WrestleMania 40 kicked off with a brand new signature that gave off major Marvel vibes, and it seems like the ideology for the company has shifted. They're not telling these shitty flip-flop stories that make no sense anymore. The focus is to do what a TV show should do. Tell stories that make you think. Tell stories that are deeper than just a championship on the line.
Damn. Triple H really bald. That's crazy. All you remember him is with having wet hair. Wet Zack and Cody hair. And now he's bald. Him and Shawn Michaels. Oh my god, that's crazy. Y'all, we're getting old.
So he came out, he did the whole "it's a new era, we're going to change the game, this is the biggest gate of all time." No, but jokes aside, both nights of WrestleMania 40 in my book delivered. There was a lot of good, there was a lot to enjoy, and at the core of everything, WrestleMania should feel like a party, and it did indeed feel like a party. If at the end of it all you had fun, that's all that matters. You should have the laughs, the crazy moments should be present, the excitement should be in.
Bro, that look cool as hell. Look at all that design and stuff. Ooh, sparklies. Oh my god.
It should be in the air, and you should be taken on an emotional journey, and that's exactly what we got. Of course I have my nitpicks, of course I have my annoyances, I have my theories of looking way too deep into some stuff, but at the core of it, I was entertained. The WWE did the Slammy Awards this past weekend, and the winner of Match of the Year was Charlotte and Rhea from WrestleMania 39, even though, let's be honest, the Gunther match was objectively Match of the Year. So Rhea comes out again, but this time against a different member of the Four Horsewomen. Becky comes out to the most blatant advertisement you'll ever see. Rhea was played out by Motionless in White, and this is kind of scary. The resemblance makes me uncomfortable. It was Rhea Ripley looking at the short-haired version of Rhea Ripley. We're not going to go blow for blow. Becky and Rhea, simply put, just had a very good open. There was an electric chair spot where both women went over the top rope in that formation to the outside. Rhea lands on her feet to hit the drop, and this was so impressive because it could have gone wrong. The finish to this match I also thought was really good. Becky was going for an avalanche manhandle slam. Rhea slipped out, hit a riptide onto the top turnbuckle, followed by a normal riptide to retain the women's world title. This was very smooth as an open. Was it a classic? No. Was it Charlotte and Rhea from last year? I don't think so. It was easily a step below. Maybe a few more minutes would have put it in that territory. However, it was good. What hasn't been good is Rhea's title reign. Let's call a spade a spade. Like, if I were to ask you to name me 5 memorable matches from this reign, you're gonna have a real tough time. That being said, Rhea is such a star right now, it's crazy. She's 27 and the trajectory she's on for the next decade is something that a lot of us had no idea would even be possible. Also, did I miss something? Why is everyone online all of a sudden trashing on Becky Lynch? That's something that I just don't understand. She's been a constant, she's put people over, she's delivered in her matches. I don't get what's going on with that narrative. Anyways, this open was a high point in the show, and the next match just continued to build on that high point. Ladder match for the Raw and SmackDown tag team titles. It was blatantly obvious that they were going to split the titles, but it was also blatantly obvious that this was going to be a car crash. Bodies hitting the floor, R-Truth hitting the butt a little bit too much. With 12 dudes in the match, it just made it more crazy. Gargano died, McDonough died, Kofi hit a crazy trust fall, air raid crash from the top of the ladder, Bate does an airplane spin while Balor was holding a ladder, double moonsaults from Dunn and Bate. At one point, R-Truth asks for the hot tag, not knowing that this is not a tag match. He comes in, hits John Cena's comeback, and the crowd ate this up. There was so many spots, and this filled that high that it was there to fill. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller won the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and for the Raw side, it was Awesome Truth. I saw people were pissed with Awesome Truth. It lends itself to what I talked about earlier. WrestleMania needs to have that party vibe. The nonsense that team brings is what works for the live crowd. R-Truth getting his first WrestleMania win this late into his career is a feel-good moment and a pure WrestleMania moment. I like
Truth. Oh my god. He's been with the company for like what, 15 years? Oh, almost 20? Goddamn. Well,
like that they split the titles because the roster has gotten so good that it needed to happen. Now what I want is a redesign. Every title has gotten a makeover, but the penny titles just aren't doing it. If you're of the camp that Gargano and Ciampa should have won SummerSlam this year is in Cleveland, I actually feel like we might get a hot build-up to a tag match because Triple H has done it before with these two. The tag match between Rey and Andrade against Dominic and Santos was fun. The most memorable part was Joaquin's insane slingshot. It was all hell breaking loose, but it wasn't anything that you're gonna actively rewatch. It served its purpose for what it was. Now let's get into the biggest clusterfuck of the weekend. Brother versus brother. One word. Ass.
Jason? Well, yeah, what is he doing here? Jason Kelsey.
This stunk. There's no walk around it. Straight up, this was not good. I rewatched it. I tried to like it. I can't like it. Also, look, I love Wheezy. I loved him growing up. But what was that? I wish I could say that's the worst performance I've seen in a while, but let's not forget, it wasn't too long ago when this company had Hardy come out at the Royal Rumble and jump around like he had his dick chopped off. That performance was an indication of things to come in the actual match between Jay and Jimmy, and they just didn't hit, and it all comes down to the simple fact that there's zero authenticity to this rivalry. They talked about how they wanted this match in interviews before, and it felt like they were doing the match just to say that it happened. All they did was spam super kicks. By my count, they hit 17, and this was not enjoyable. That now on the record, the promo package for this was elite. It was so well done. The story of their brotherhood was told perfectly, and it lended itself to the storytelling during the match where Jay had compassion for Jimmy after seeing just how much punishment his brother could take. Jay fell for the trap, but Jimmy still couldn't get the win. When the bell rang, Jay won the match and it abruptly ended. This needed more time, this needed a better structure overall, and maybe it could have been helped by a stipulation. They made this a game of Philly kickball and kind of exposed the fact that they didn't really have the versatility to put on a great match. However, I will say that of the two nights we got, this was the only thing that was outright bad. I wasn't expecting Brett versus Owen, I wasn't expecting a classic, but I was expecting something actually good. The woman,
because those stills looked like they were about to bust out laughing. They were in silly, goofy moods.
The women's tag match was solely there to get Bianca and Asuka, Jade, Naomi, all those other women onto the card. The goal here was to showcase Jade Cargill. I mean, you had so much hype after her signing, so you kinda have to show that this woman is worth it. They made it apparent that Jade is one of their future pillars. Her presentation has been phenomenal, and this was fine. Again, it was the same thing as the men's tag match from earlier. Asuka being 0-7 at WrestleMania is actually crazy. This is where the show kind of hit a lull, and it came down to the fact that WWE sandwiched the Usos match in between two tag matches that people didn't really care that much about. Michael Cole told us that it was cold a solid 88 times, and that was one of the reasons why the crowd wasn't into this. The difference between the night 1 crowd and night 2 crowd was literally night and day. Next up was Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. Simply put, this ruled. This was the match of night 1 to me, no questions asked. This had everything you'd want from a pure wrestling standpoint. They chopped the living hell out of each other. Gunther dominates Sami, but Sami doesn't say die. That's the whole story of the match. He clings on, and he continues to cling on. He's a shot away from turning the tide. At every turn, Gunther is hitting power bombs or lariats. Sami just keeps coming back for more and more punishment. This played into the finish perfectly. Gunther had Sami dead to rights, but instead wanting to embarrass Zayn and knowing that he could, he just kept going for more. He just kept hitting more moves. He goes for a splash, has the chance to pin Sami, but then goes to the top to hit another splash. Only this time he gets caught with a haluva kick, followed by a brainbuster on the top turnbuckle, then 2 haluva kicks, and to the shock of many, Sami Zayn wins the Intercontinental Championship. This match told a fantastic story, and it has a genius to it on its own. And here's what that genius is. The character of the ring general is he takes professional wrestling seriously. In a world full of entertainers, he's a pure wrestler who never goofs around, he never gets cocky, never takes his eyes off the prize, which is why this finish was brilliant, because Gunther strayed away from everything that makes him him. He started to taunt, he started to hit extra moves when he could have just gone for the win and walked away the winner. Instead, he continued to toy with Zayn, and that cost him. Sami ends Gunther's 666-day Intercontinental Championship reign. Honestly, I didn't think this was going to happen. To me, it felt like this needed a bit more of a build-up because it seemed like they were positioning Chad Gable to do it. My opinion on this is twofold. One, what a wholesome moment. Sami is one of the realest wrestlers out there and he deserves this. On the other side, ending what is the greatest Intercontinental Championship reign should have felt like more of a spectacle, if that makes sense. The nitpick many have with this is that it should have been Chad Gable. Yeah, that was the more natural story. We'll get into that on a different day. But as for this was just so wholesome. The match was a pure hit. And listen, a few weeks back I talked about how Seth Rollins was a stud at WrestleMania. Gunther right now is 2 for 2. Last year against Sheamus and Drew, and now this clinic against Sami. He's left the fans singing his praises again. Perhaps we're seeing the beginning stages of a legendary WrestleMania resume being built. The legend that was being built at WrestleMania 40 though was Cody Rhodes. We get to the main event and I don't care what anyone says, but I just had a blast watching this tag match. It took way too long to get into this, but once we actually got into what mattered, this was awesome. Rock came out, and this right here is aura if I've ever seen it. Aura level 1000. He's out there standing in the middle of a Brahma bull that was on fire. He has the People's Championship, and online everyone's saying that this guy looked gassed. He was fine. He's 51 years old. He doesn't do this on a regular basis. So to everyone acting like the guy got shot 5 minutes into this match, chill. He was fine. The match started off slow, then Rock started to play political chess. Shout out to my boys at Elite Heat. He basically tells the ref, if you call a DQ or a count out, you're fired. The final boss doesn't fuck around. So after an unnecessarily long stare down, we go to the outside and this turns into a no holds barred brawl around the arena. Rock and Seth go at it in the crowd. Meanwhile, Roman and Cody are brawling on the entrance ramp. And eventually things start to pick up. At one point, Cody goes for a Cody cutter where Seth tags in and hits a splash onto Roman. Then later, Rhodes' team hits double super kicks followed by a stomp, then a crossroads, and Roman survives because The Rock pulls the ref out. Roman later in the match goes to hit Cody with a spear, but instead spears Rock, so there's some storytelling there. Seth Rollins pushes Cody out of the way, which gives him that entire bit that also lends into night 2, because as you guys remembered, Seth said that he was going to be Cody's shield. There was a part in the match where Rock goes for a people's elbow and Cody turns this into a Cody cutter. Pun intended, this was packed with so much adrenaline. Double pedigrees, nothing. Cody then hits a rock bottom on The Rock from one announce table onto the other. Roman spears Seth through the barricade, and it is pure madness. Then we get to the part of the match that I love. Just when you think Cody's got it in hand, he doesn't. He goes for a third crossroads on Roman, and we get a call back to WrestleMania 39. In the closing moments of that match, he was about to hit a third crossroads, but ended up on the right side of the ring only for it to cost him. Last year, it was Solo with a spike. This year, it was Rock with a weight belt, and that's where the match changed. Roman hit a spear, Rock came in, people's elbow, rock bottom, that's it. Second longest match in WrestleMania history. This needed to be 25, maybe 30 minutes. You could have easily shaved off 15 minutes, but as a main event, once we got to what we needed to get to, this hit. I like the fact that night 1 had stakes leading into night 2. To end the show, the Samoans celebrated, and there sat Cody Rhodes in the middle of the ring having flashbacks to last year. Cody getting pinned here to me made sense because you had to make it an upwards climb for the next night. Night 1 for me felt fun, and you know how I could tell it was fun is because before I knew it, it was over. It didn't drag on, there wasn't anything offensively bad on the show aside from the brother versus brother match. The clear highlights were the main event, the Intercontinental Championship match, the ladder match, and the women's title match. Night 1 was not perfect by any means, and that comes down to the structure. However, night 2 was as close to a perfect Mania as I've seen. As a standalone WrestleMania from start to finish, everything on night 2 was perfect. Everything led us to this night. Online riots, pivots, nightmares, final bosses. But we began with Psychopaths and Visionaries. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, World Heavyweight Championship. All I wanted in this match was for Drew to win, and I wanted it for the simple fact that it was a long time coming. It had been 4 years since WrestleMania 36 where Drew won in front of no one, and I'm happy to report that Drew McIntyre has in fact done it. Drew McIntyre captured the World Heavyweight Championship in front of fans. And this is one of those moments that you live for. A guy who has worked his ass off. We've seen his story. We've seen most of his life, to be honest with you, finally reaching the mountaintop after having it taken away so many times. Drew hit Seth with a Claymore seconds after the bell rang, and both guys kicked out of each other's finish multiple times. Even with Seth having gone through hell the night before in the tag match, he gave it his all, but Drew winning the title here was the right call. He's on the run of a lifetime, utilizing social media to a T. His promos don't feel forced. He's not a good guy or a bad guy. He's got reasoning as to why he's doing what he's doing. But above all else, one thing that he continues to do is troll CM Punk. The way the company has built up the Punk and McIntyre incoming rivalry is a stroke of genius. After the adrenaline rush of this match, who did Drew go to? Of course, he went to CM Punk, and that's what cost him. The moment Seth was leaving after losing the title, he simply told Drew, "You fucking deserve it, man." But like I said, Drew didn't just take this moment and run with it, he had to shove it in Punk's face. In the whole build, Drew has been telling Seth to focus on him and not the bloodline. Drew was focused on Seth, but his obsession with CM Punk ended up being his downfall. For months, Drew was the voice of reason, but his own obsession cost him the title. It cost him a moment that he had been working years to re-achieve. Punk laid out McIntyre when he just couldn't take any more. In came Damian Priest to cash in the Money in the Bank and win the World Heavyweight Championship.
Damn.
You gotta think Clash at the Castle in Scotland is Drew's true moment with the pyro and all the bells and whistles. Then it's Punk and Drew at SummerSlam. The crowd was electric for this. This cash-in was a huge moment. To me, WWE hasn't done anything, and I mean anything, to make me care about Damian Priest, Ball's in their court now, don't goof it up. As for Drew and Punk, when we step back, we take a look at why this happened, this makes a lot of sense. The pride in the Final Testament was the showcase that it needed to be. Snoop Dogg on commentary had me dying by giving his best analysis on the randomest moves. It was fine for what it was. Bubba Ray Dudley as the ref. It was in Philly, so of course they're going to do a weapons-based match. This came after we were just processing the crazy and insane start to this show. LA Knight and AJ Styles was really competitive. Why I really like this match is they didn't start off with a headlock. These two have been trying to kill each other in the build. There is nothing worse than when two guys want to kill each other and they start off with a headlock. TNA ran wild and LA Knight continued to prove the can't wrestle allegations false in a very competitive match. Seriously, from a match standpoint, every match on this night was a hit. What also helped this was the crowd was crazy on this night. They did a complete 180 and a lot of that had to do with the weather. The US Championship match was also a ton of fun.
So I am aware that Logan Paul is in the WWE. And I'm just wondering, how do y'all feel about that? Like, this internet star is now a wrestler. Is he like proving his worth? Is he talented? I never watched his matches, but like what I've seen on TikTok, like little clips, like it looks like he has like the athleticism for it. But like, what is y'all opinions? Like, how do y'all feel? Because that's kind of like well, his brother went to boxing and shit, so I mean, I guess it's not that far off. But yeah, what's y'all's opinion?
This was a mix of awesome wrestling and pure shenanigans. All three of Owens, Orton, and Paul worked wonderfully together. The praise I want to give to this match is all three men stayed in for basically the whole time and worked together to craft this match. It wasn't one of these things where two guys work in the ring while the other guy's on the outside resting, then that guy comes in while someone else rests. All three guys stayed in the ring. Of course, guys had respites here and there, but they just worked together perfectly. Later in the match, the Prime bottle reveals itself to be I Show Meat, who then gets RKO'd onto the announce table. When the chaos dies down, Logan Paul keeps the championship. I think we all know he's not losing that before SummerSlam. The co-main event was Bayley versus Io Sky, and this was actually a perfect match. They knew each other so well after being together for so long, as well as Bayley selling her knee. That was a nice touch since it was her coming back from that knee injury that led to the formation of Damage Control in the first place. Shirai sprung out of the Rose Plants attempt from Bayley. That was followed by a back suplex, followed by a big elbow, then a Rose Plant to give Bayley a 1-2-3. Bayley won a perfectly paced match, and again, you got a huge babyface win. There's not much for me to critique from night 2. It was just a good night of wrestling. What was in night 2's favor was each match felt different or had some variation of a previous match. You had the finisher fest at the start, then you had the weapons match with the 3-on-3, then you had the traditional match with AJ and Knight, then the shenanigans filled triple threat match. The women's match was another classic wrestling match with good psychology between the two women who knew each other's playbook inside and out. But I know what you guys are here for. With everything behind us, one question remained. Would the story be finished? It was time for Roman versus Cody. Bloodline rules, and we expected this thing to be the most overbooked thing ever, and it was everything and more. I'm putting this on record right now. You guys need to go back and watch that Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes promo package because that thing was brilliant. I actually think they produced one of my favorite promo packages in a long while. Eyes Closed by Imagine Dragons, and they show where Cody's been and how he made the journey back to WWE. How Roman was the mountain that he just couldn't climb, and it also showed us the road to Mania. Genuinely, this was outstanding production. Both guys had insane entrances. The big time energy was chart breaking. Roman came out like a final mafia boss, whereas Cody came in looking like $1,000,000. My words do not do justice to any of this. They started off by putting on a wrestling clinic, and the story of the match was what I talked about in the night 1 portion of this video. Cody hitting that third crossroads. They brawled to the outside, used some weapons here and there, and they just went move for move, and there were so many close falls in what I consider the wrestling portion of this match. Both guys even ended up stealing each other's finish. Roman does a good bit of storytelling as he hits the crossroads and then just go, that move never beat anyone. The irony at the end is brilliant. This thing then gets into the crazy Avengers mode that we all knew it would get into. Out comes Jimmy to help Roman, and Jay comes in to neutralize Jimmy and spear him from the top of the stage to a table below. Then Cody goes for the 3 crossroads again, and this time it's Solo who ends up making the save. He can't hit number 3. He's fought off by John Cena. He neutralizes him. And then Cena gets in the ring, and out comes The Rock. We have the perfect face-to-face between these two. Rock hits a rock bottom, and just as he's about to lay into Cody, out comes Seth Rollins, but not with his normal music, with the Shield theme song, and this was so poetic, because not only did he come in with the attire, he came with a chair. The thing that created the monster of Roman Reigns in the first place a decade ago. Remember how Rollins told Cody that he would be his shield? Well, that had a much deeper meaning than I think a lot of us had envisioned. When Seth came in, he was taken out by Roman Reigns before he could do anything. Now Rock is left in the middle of the ring, and out comes The Undertaker. You just knew this spot was for Stone Cold, and imagine how perfect that would have been. A meeting between Rock and Austin one more time. Regardless of all that, this was still awesome. He chokeslams Rock and he leaves. So the Cody Vengers have come together, and this ending was so perfect. Roman is left with a choice. On one side is Cody Rhodes. On the other side is Seth Rollins. In his hand is a steel chair, the device that tortured him for years. The device that brought him trauma that he just could not recover from. A swing to Cody could keep his ironclad grip on the championship he loves more than anything, and with that, his spot of being the top guy. But instead, he swings the chair towards Rollins, unable to live that June day down. Wounds of Seth's betrayal still haunt him 10 years later, and that's the lure of this whole thing. It all made sense for us dummies who have been watching for so long. This decision gave Cody enough respite to recover, and this time with the path completely clear, Cody Rhodes hits 3 crossroads, and ladies and gentlemen, Cody Rhodes has finished the story. From Stardust to top star, Cody Rhodes has done it. In the most overbooked, crazy, heart-pounding, exhilarating WrestleMania main events I have ever witnessed, it was all worth it. This was a pure movie. This was perfect. As a wrestling fan, this is what you live for.
Like, okay, like bringing back the faves, the fan favorites. That would have been cool to like for Stone Cold to come out instead of Undertaker, because we see Undertaker every goddamn WrestleMania. We see him everywhere. Like, to me, it's like, it's not a surprise when he's there. Like, can we get someone else, you know? Is this like the best WrestleMania in like the past 10 years, in y'all's opinion? Like, what is it? Or is it like in like the top 10 best WrestleManias or top 5 in y'all's opinion? Like, I don't know. Give y'all's opinions. I want to see, I want to know. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Oh my god, if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. And if you're not following my socials, my TikTok and my Instagram are down below, duh. And yeah, if you have any recommendations, please leave them down below. Thanks, bye.